Hello, what's up YouTube? Photographer Ronnie Sweet and in this tutorial, I'll show how you can easily color grade iPhone or phone photos or photos taken using a mobile phone in Capture One. So right now I'm using Capture One 21 and you can see that is what I'm using from this right here, and you can as well check out their website and you purchase or get a license after downloading Capture One. So that is how to get Capture One. And before we can proceed, if at all you find this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button so that YouTube can push and recommend this video to so many people out there who are interested in learning how to color grade their phone images or their phone photos in Capture One. So what I'm going to do, I want to show you a brief information about this image. I shot it in auto mode and you can see the phone automatically selected for me as the ISO, which was 32, and the shutter speed was 1 out of 100th of a second. And I shot it at f2.8. That is the lens that was the choice. So I shot it using rather portrait mode on the iPhone 7 Plus. So it is slightly an older version of an iPhone, but if at all I'm to slightly zoom in, just look at how much detail was able to be captured by the phone. And it is a little bit grainy, so just want to see how I color graded this image that I posted on Instagram. And if at all you feel like you want to check out the images on Instagram, you can follow me on Instagram at Ronix Photography. So without further ado, let's get started with this very tutorial. So the very first thing I'm going to do when it comes to Capture, and if at all you want your workspace to look like mine, just come to Window and come to Workspace and come down to Migration, and you'll have your Capture looking like mine right here. So the very first thing I tend to do when it comes to color grading is I work on a background layer itself before I can start color grading on a way different layer. So on the background layer, I tend to work on the basic lighting corrections or adjustments. So I'm just going to do that by taking the highlights down, and I do it for my whites. Then I open up the shadows just like that because the image was looking a little bit pale. I'm just going to take down my black slightly. Then I come all the way down to my levels and I'm going to drag in my blacks to add more contrast to the image. But I feel like the white balance, the image is more on the blue side. So I'm just going to take the white balance slightly up. So that looks okay to me. So this is okay for my basic corrections. And then let me add a little bit of contrast to the image just like that, up to around 4. So next thing when it comes to color grading in Capture One, always make sure you do it on a separate layer because you don't want to do the color grading on the background layer because sometimes we tend to go overboard when it comes to color grading images. So make sure you color grade on a very separate layer. I'm just going to come and right click right on this plus icon, and you can see we also have layers in Capture One, and you can as well adjust the opacity. So unlike when you do it on the background layer, you can't turn down the opacity, but when you create a new field adjustment layer, it means that the color grading is going to be on a global basis and it's going to be on the overall image. So you can come and dial down the color grading after you have done it, depending on your taste and preference. Then you can as well get your eraser tool and eliminate the color grading, like I'm going to show you later on. So you have created this new field adjustment layer, and I'm just going to double click it for purposes of being uniform to color grade. And I'm just going to scroll all the way down because usually I tend to first of all handle the skin tone, and I make sure that I have even skin tones in this image. So I'm just going to come down to my color editor and I simply select skin tone, and I'm just going to left click and get the color picker tool. Then I'm going to zoom in and I look for a reference point for the skin tone. So for this case, I just want to look for a point in the skin that is going to be more of a reference point. So that point is going to be that is going to represent. So I want to make every skin tone look like the point I'm about to sample in this image. Just going to come and sample. For example, I'm just going to sample this area, and you can see as soon as you click on that area, it is going to automatically sample the colors that fall within that area we have just sampled. So let me just try clicking once again. You can see it samples the colors that belong in that area. You can see it has a little bit of yellows, oranges, greens, and magentas, and some reds. So like you can see in this case, his shirt is having a little bit the red color. And if at all you don't want to include the red color during the color grading of the skin tone, you can simply drag this out of the reds so that you can only work with the yellows and oranges. So in order to see quite well the selected color range for skin tones, you can simply come and check on this option which says view selected color range, and you can see the range in which the selected or targeted skin tone area is falling. And you can see it has also chosen some part of the red. So like I said, if at all you want to eliminate this color that has been selected in the shot, you can simply come right here and you can simply drag this out. And you can see as we're dragging it out of the reds, it's going to automatically eliminate that color from the selection. So after that, we're just going to come back right here and turn off the view selected color range. And we're going to come to the uniformity slider and take it up to when you feel like the skin tone is looking a little bit uniform. And we're going to also take up the saturation because I feel like the image was a little bit on the pale side. So I'm just going to take this a little bit higher and take this even more. And just look at the skin tone. The skin is now tending to look a little bit uniform. Let's look at a quick before and after. This is the image before and after, before, after. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do, I'm just going to come to the saturation and I'm going to simply take up the saturation just like that so that the skin can look a little bit warmer and we have more contrast within the skin of this little boy right here. So after we have done that, the next thing we are going to do, we are going to come back up here and we're going to open up the shadows because I feel like the skin is a little bit pale or on the pale side. And after we have done all that, we're going to come back down here to our basic adjustments. So for what I did in this case when I color grading the image, I simply came to my reds right here and I had to hue them to look like on the orange side so that the attention is not taken from, because the reds are a little bit standing out. So I had to hue them towards the orange side so that we can have a more blend look or a more blended feel with the skin tone and the little boy right here and the shirt right in general. So I had to hue it a little bit just like that. Then I came right here to this and I took down the lightness and I also intensified the saturation. Then I came to the blues. So what I did, I had to go for that kind of teal look. So I came to the blues and I had to take it down just like that to have a more teal look added to the image. Then the next thing I did lastly or finally, I came to my color balance, and under this I prefer to have my shadows having a little bit of the cyan. So you can see you can add a given color to the shadows, midtones, and the highlights. And for this case, what I did, I came to the shadows and I added a little bit of cyans to my shadows just like that. And I came to the midtones and I added a little bit of the oranges. So the more you take this towards the edges, it means that the color is going to be more concentrated, and the more you move it closer to the center, it means it is going to be less concentrated. So I added a little bit of oranges to my midtones, and I came to the highlights and I simply added a little bit of greens to my highlights. So after I had done this, I usually come back to my skin tone right here and I play around with these sliders even more to have a more defined feel or look. So I'm just going to take up the saturation a little bit more and I come to the lightness and brighten up the skin. Then after doing that, I come back to the basic adjustments right here and I feel like the orange is a little bit more on the green side. So I'm just going to come right here. I'm going to make the oranges a little bit more on the red side, just like that. So when I was done doing this, you can see that this is what we had initially, the before and after, before, after. So basically this is what I did when I was color grading this very image in Capture One. So the last thing I did, I just added a little bit of sharpening to the image. So I just came all the way down to my sharpening and I added a little bit of sharpening to this image so that it can be a little bit high, or so that it can have a slightly higher pixels or sharpness or sharpening to it. So this is it right now. So if at all you feel like you have more on the shadow area, you can come and open up the shadows of this image just like that. And this is it. And this is all I did. So like I said in Capture One, when you feel like the color grading is too much, you can come and turn down the opacity of your color grading depending on your taste and preference. Or if at all you feel like you do not want to color grade the shot as well, you can come and get the eraser tool, and with the color grade layer selected, you can just come and increase on the or the eraser tool and simply paint to eliminate where you do not want color grade in this case. So basically that is how I did the color grading for this very image. So I took it into Photoshop, and in order to do that, you can simply come and get the pointer, right click on the image and come to edit with, and you can take the image into Photoshop to do the skin retouching and other basic corrections on the image. So this is all for this tutorial, and if at all you love this, don't forget to like this video and don't forget to subscribe this channel. If at all you have been watching and you not subscribe this channel, Ronis from Ronis Photography, thank you for watching and see you in yet more amazing tutorials, and don't forget to keep practicing and also keep creating.